So, our first bullet point for tonight, creating P&Ps, R&Rs, and company overviews. So for those of you who don't know, policies and procedures, R&Rs are your rules and regulations. So what would you say is a good way to create those policies and procedures within your business, Thais?
Okay, so I have 3 points for every point we're going to talk about today.
Awesome.
So when we're talking about
Where's my notepad?
creating, so when we start talking about creating policies and procedures, right? So there's three key things, and you talk about rules and regulations and company overviews. So number one, alignment. We have to have alignment with the company values and goals. So if you don't have that established as an entrepreneur, I need you to stop right now and then figure out what are your core values, what are your core goals, what do you want your customer to walk away with, right? Is it products? Is it services? Is it customer satisfaction? You need to have all those things kind of mapped out for you. So that's how you get to alignment. And so that's going to be so crucial for your policies and your procedures and your rules and regulations, right? The other piece that also helps with your day-to-day operations, right? To achieve your strategies and your goals. Number two, okay, y'all ready for number two? Clear communication and accessibility. So I'm going to emphasize this very heavily because I'm sure Colin knows when you're project managing or program managing, communication can be the life or death of you. So if it's written, if it is in emails, if it's in a phone call, if it's in a Teams meeting, whatever it is, your communication got to be clear. So your verbal and your written needs to be very clear, and they need to be aligned, and it has to be easily understood, right? Now, when I talk about accessibility of that, that means where can your employees go to get this information to understand what's the rules, what's the regulations, what's the policies, what's the procedures. Make that very available to them. Oftentimes, I've seen over 23 years, policies and rules and regulations, people, they know them, and then it gets in their head. And then when you ask where is it written, unless they're ISO 9000, like certified, they're always going to have those on hand. But most companies, sometimes it's stuck in one person's head and they know like this, but you have to bring it up on a regular basis where they're training with each of your employees. Yep. So what I have seen for best practices is that your employees should be revisiting this information if it's annually, or you might want it every 6 months, right? But definitely at least twice a year. Once a year, it's cool, but twice, they'll have it down pat. Okay, so number three, regular review and being able to adapt. So guess what we have experienced over the last 3 years since our wonderful world shut down? Everything has changed, right? Everything is dynamic. Everybody is pivoting. So that is something you need to make sure is also regular. Are you regularly reviewing your policies and your procedures? I had a program that I've managed for the last 18 months for the business I work for full time. And we had to revisit a lot of our policies and procedures. Policies, most importantly, because today's day and age, because of all kinds of things, supply chain constraints, all kinds of other things, policies don't match the environment. Right. So you need to make sure you always review and understand what's going on a macro and a micro level. So making sure you review and be able to pivot quickly. Okay.